Saving and restoring your unique dry-fire system data. Let's begin by saving that information. We're going to use our Internet Explorer. You can see that mine is opened up to the dry-fire website. And I'm going to go up to the address bar, and I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to type in C:/program data. And when I have that in, I'm going to hit enter. That takes me into my program data folder, and in there I will find the dry-fire folder that I want to make a copy of. Over on the left-hand side here, you can see that I have a USB drive known as the F drive on this computer, which is the same USB drive that you have received when you purchased a dry-fire system with all of the videos. There's plenty of data space on there, and we're going to use that as a convenient place to keep all of our dry-fire information. So I'm going to come over here to the right-hand side, find the dry-fire folder. I'm going to do a left click, then I'm going to do a right click. I'm going to then come down and click on copy, and then simply move over to the F drive, do a right click, come down and click on paste, and that begins the transfer of that folder over onto my F drive. Now you can see here in the middle that my dry-fire folder is fairly large, 414 megabytes, and it's going to take about 60 seconds for that to be transferred over. So I'm going to pause while that takes place. And now we're pretty close to the end, where the completion of the dry-fire folder being put on the F drive is taking place now. And in a moment, I'm going to explain some differences in the data path for an XP machine as compared to Vista, Windows 7, or Windows 8. Now you noticed to get to this particular folder, and I'm using a Windows 7 machine, we use C:/program data, and that was the path. Now on a XP machine, the path is quite a bit longer. It is C:/documents space and space settings /all space users /application space data. So for those of you using an XP computer, simply type that into your Internet Explorer and hit the enter key, and it'll take you right to the place where you're going to find your dry-fire folder. Now let's go over and look on the F drive. If I click on the F drive, you can see up here and what's in the F drive. I now have my dry-fire folder, a copy of that. And now we're going to go on and talk about, okay, now that you've got a copy of it, when might you use that copy? In step number 1, you were shown how to go in and make a copy of the dry-fire folder, which was inside the program data folder, and that contained all of the unique data relative to your computer system and your specific dry-fire system. Now let's assume for a moment that that computer crashed. You were unable to ever get it working again. You had to go out and find a different computer. You found that computer, and you started out by loading the dry-fire software once again. And after having the dry-fire software up and running, you're now ready to make it operate exactly like your old system operated. And you're going to do that by copying what you have on your USB drive and depositing in your program data file. So let's go ahead and see how that works out. We're going to come up here using the Internet Explorer like we did before. We're going to go ahead and highlight. We're then going to do C:/program data and hit enter. Once we get into this portion, then what we're going to do is we're going to plug our USB drive in. You heard the sound when the computer recognized there was a new drive. I'm going to come over here and show you. Here is the drive, the USB drive. I'm going to go ahead and left click on that. And now up here on the top, you see the dry-fire folder. This was the one that we saved in step number 1. I'm going to do a left click and then a right click. I'm going to come down and do a left click on copy. So now I have a copy of the DryFire folder ready to go. Now I have to get out and get into the program data folder. And I'm going to do that by, again, this time coming up into this address bar. Click to highlight it. Type in C:\/ program data. Hit enter. And now we're back to inside the program data folder. Now this is on your new computer. And this DryFire folder down here now contains all of the default information that everybody's computer gets when they first load the DryFire system. So if you just started running, you would have to go in now and make all of your settings, put in all of your shooters, all of your guns, and all of those things that make it uniquely your system. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to just erase this right at the moment, but we're going to do first a left click and then a right click. And then we're going to come down and we're going to left click on rename. And then I'm going to come up here and click and highlight it. And what I'm going to do is just type the word original after this. And I'm only doing this so that in the event something goes wrong, I can always erase original and return it to this default information. So this is just a temporary step. If you wanted to erase it, you can go ahead and erase it. All right, now, remember moments ago, we made a copy of that DryFire folder. And all I'm going to do now is somewhere in this area, I'm going to do a right click. And then I'm going to come down and left click on paste. When I paste, you can see here that a DryFire folder has appeared. And you can see over here that it's now in the process of moving that 414 megabyte file that we had on our USB drive into this program data folder, which is part of your new computer. And you want this thing to come up and run and look just like your old computer before the crash. So it's just about done right now, and now it is done. All right. Now this is all that you have to do in order to be able to restore all of your unique information. So if I went ahead now and just simply stopped at this point, I could go ahead and open up my DryFire system. And as it opens up right here, this now contains all of my settings. If I were to come up here to setup and system configuration, this is exactly how my old system was. If I went in and opened up my shooters information up here, this would have all of my shooters. And so this is a very simple way then of being able to restore once you've had a crash and had to change to a different computer, or if you were lucky enough after the crash to get your system back up again, then you would have reloaded the DryFire software and then moved this DryFire folder in to replace the default DryFire folder that it loaded with. And now in this third step, we're going to show you a somewhat unique application. Let's suppose that you're a large youth group and you have 3 different computer systems that you're using when you're doing your practice. And you would like all 3 of these systems to look identical, to have the same shooters, to have the same guns, so that it didn't make any difference who was operating the DryFire system or which shooters were shooting on which DryFire system. This will show you a way and give you an idea of how to make all of your systems look alike. And all it really amounts to is you're going to want to have loaded all of the information in one computer, and then to make 2 other computers look exactly the same, you're simply going to load the DryFire software on each of these other 2 computers. And then, of course, it's going to load the default DryFire folder into the program data folder. And what you're going to do is you're going to come along and you are going to move your copy that you have on your thumb drive into the other 2 systems. So there really isn't any need right here to go through and show you that mechanism, because we did that in the previous segment. So what I'm trying to do here is to get across the idea that there is a very simple way of making multiple computers have the same unique data in them. And so you would go in and you would take the current DryFire folder and call it original. And then you're going to bring in the DryFire folder, which contains the information that you're trying to make the second computer look like, and simply bring it in and drop it in there, and it's that simple. So I hope that helps you.